In this presentation, I will be discussing the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 14, Life Below Water, which promotes the conservation and sustainable use of oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Ocean sustainability is of global importance because it affects both population and environmental health. Until recent decades, many people considered the oceans to be an inexhaustible resource, but we are now realizing we are depleting them of their biodiversity and ability to promote healthier humans and stronger economies. Given the importance of sustainable ocean management, the target goal I will be discussing is, by 2020, sustainably manage and protect marine and coastal ecosystems to avoid significant adverse impacts by strengthening their resilience and take action for their restoration in order to achieve healthy and productive oceans. What does sustainable management look like, you might ask? Well, the EPA states that to pursue sustainability is to create and maintain the conditions in which humans and nature can exist in productive harmony to support present and future generations. Human activity affects nearly 40% of the world's oceans in a negative way through irresponsible and careless actions, and in doing so, we are depleting our oceans of their ability to meet our many needs. We depend on oceans to help eradicate poverty, providing jobs for 200 million people and livelihood in their coastal resources. They also play a critical role in food security, global warming prevention, and human health. Unsustainable ocean management is resulting in habitat invasions, marine extinctions, acidifying oceans, decreased oxygen levels, increased toxic pollution, and species diseases. To summarize, unsustainable management of our ocean's ecosystem will have devastating results that will destroy our sea, land, and life. As Sylvia Earle, American marine biologist and advocate of ocean conservation, states simply but profoundly, no water, no life, no blue, no green. As I previously mentioned, there are numerous environmental and public health consequences of unsustainable ocean management. Two of the most significant issues are fishery exploitation and global warming. These both warrant immediate attention because of their potentially devastating effects on human well-being. Although resilient, oceans will not win the fight against overfishing and global warming if we continue to act as we are now. Ecosystem integrity will be jeopardized, resulting in a decrease in food security and diminishing food, human, and environmental health. Oceans act as a major source of food and employment through their fisheries. More than 3 billion people depend on oceans as their main source of food, serving as the world's largest source of protein. Furthermore, marine fisheries provide jobs to upwards of 200 million people either directly or indirectly. Unfortunately, people are taking too many fish out of the ocean than can be replaced by those remaining. This, of course, is resulting in a declining fish species, which is expected to completely collapse by year 2048. Overfishing is also associated with the deaths of untargeted marine populations, including dolphins, sea turtles, sharks, and corals. Poor fishery management, pirate fishing, and massive bycatch, which is catching untargeted fish, are the main reasons for the exploitation of fish. This is an incredibly difficult issue to manage due to the expected increase in the human population, which will demand more food production. Studies suggest that to meet the increasing needs of our growing population, there will need to be a 50% increase in protein supply from fish. Man-made carbon emissions damage oceans by affecting the marine biological processes, including ecosystem destruction. Oceans act as an important global warming buffer by absorbing approximately 30% of carbon emissions. However, we are producing far more carbon emissions than our oceans can keep up with. Since 1970, there has been a 90% increase in carbon emissions, and currently we are producing almost 10,000 million metric tons of carbon emissions from fossil fuels worldwide. Global warming has many negative effects on the ocean. Ocean acidification, or commonly termed OA, is a result of the change in ocean chemistry through the uptake of carbon emissions. This increases ocean temperature and acid levels. OA has been recognized as an emerging global problem because of its biological impact, posing a deathly threat to coral reefs. Increased ocean acidity leads to coral reef bleaching, which turns the coral completely white and increases the risk for mortality. Without thriving coral reefs, the ocean is at risk to lose many of its coral-thriving ocean species. In addition to the damage done to coral reefs, OA also has a dramatic effect on calcifying species like oysters, clams, and plankton. When such organisms are at risk for extinction, this affects the entire food web. Unsustainable ocean management has damaging effects on marine life, but not so commonly discussed are the harmful effects on humans. Nearly half of the world's population lives within 125 miles of a coastline and are at risk for feeling the effects of unsustainable management. Furthermore, coastal nations are experiencing rapid and uncontrolled development, which increases the rate at which damage is done to the surrounding oceans and people. Overcrowding alone accounts for marine pollution, which in turn poses a great threat to human health. 90% of wastewater and 70% of industrial waste are dumped into coastal waters that people are bathing in or ingesting every day. This has increased the rate of infectious diseases like cholera in coastal populations. Chemicals and heavy metals found in oceans are also damaging to human health and have been linked to reproductive and neurological issues. More people are suffering from food insecurity with marine life extinction. Fishery exploitation means an increase in unemployment and poverty rates. Underdeveloped countries are at an even greater risk for such harmful effects because they lack protective barriers like proper medical care, access to other food sources, and other employment opportunities. Women in underdeveloped countries are perhaps even more vulnerable because they are less likely to be consulted on ocean management processes and bear the biggest burden when losing food or income for their family. Significant damage has been done to our oceans due to historic unsustainable management, we are seeing those effects in our marine and human populations. Fortunately, however, many ocean conservationists and environmental health experts have taken action to prevent further damage and even undo some of the previous damage done. Effectively managing marine fisheries is a major priority involving spatial fishing rights known as territorial use rights fisheries and no-take zones, where fishing is prohibited. Both strategies help to boost fish productivity while protecting marine life that is at risk for extinction. These also allow local fishermen to control their own fisheries and enforce compliance with the fishing regulations. This can boost the economy and food security within and beyond a coastal area. Aquaculture, also known as fish farming, is another solution to protect vulnerable fish species from extinction. Aquaculture involves the breeding of ocean species in their natural environment, but they are protected by cages. This method provides over 40% of our global seafood production. While this is a viable solution, it is very complex, involving the communication and coordination of fisheries, shipping, space, and resources. Innovative solutions are being done to reverse the damage done to coral reefs by ocean acidification. Ruth Gates from the University of Hawaii has proposed to build what she calls supercorals, which are resistant to acidic conditions in the ocean. She believes supercorals will repopulate dead reef areas through genetic selection, as the stronger reefs will survive, and preserve biodiversity. Managing ocean resiliency and sustainability will be accomplished through decreased pollution rates up to 80%, as some scientists suggest. Small day-to-day changes are important to note, however, significant change must occur within the industrial sector. Carbon emission rates must significantly drop, as well as the amount of waste that are dumped into our oceans every day. I enthusiastically support Sustainable Development Goal number 14, Life Below Water, due to the essential and integrated role that oceans play in our ecosystem. Most importantly is the need to sustainably manage our oceans so we are protecting its marine biodiversity, marine life, and protective nature. Oceans act as our major source of income by creating livelihood and jobs, as well as eradicate poverty and malnourishment through a strong source of protein. In addition to this, they act as the strongest regulator of global temperature while providing us with water to drink and air to breathe, two things we cannot live without. Human activities contribute to ocean damage through actions that increase water and air pollution, as well as greenhouse gas emissions. It is time that we take responsibility for these actions to prevent more irreversible damage that has already been done. This will take a coordinated effort of education and awareness, policy implementation, and innovative environmental solutions. While the solution to continued sustainable ocean management is not an easy one, it is one that we must prioritize if we want humankind to live on. For more information on ocean sustainability, please see the 3 resources listed in my presentation slide. Thank you.